How do you do, Storyteller here, and welcome to Sherlock Holmes, The Awakened. This is actually a Cthulhu universe-based game. It's very Lovecraftian. When I bought the game, I actually wasn't aware of that, but ironically, I just finished playing the Call of Cthulhu game. So when I clicked on this, you'd imagine my surprise when I saw similar themes. I will be doing a playthrough of that game as well, but I wanted to take a little break from it. I wanted to play it for myself the first time, then play it along with you guys for an actual playthrough. So, funny enough, this is my third time attempting to play this game for a recording. The first two times, unfortunately, I had troubles either with the recording, with the game, or with memory, files not saving. The first time I didn't even realize it had a save mechanic until I died the first time and lost all my progress. So unfortunately for the first part of the game, I do know a lot of what happens and what to do, but I will try to stay as neutral as I can. I have not completed the game yet, so I do not know how it ends. There's still a lot to be unraveled, and there's probably a lot I missed the first time playing through. So I will be starting out with a little bit of prior knowledge, but just know I have not completed the game yet, and we will be sharing this experience together. So, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Go away, you swine! Leave, or I'll make you bleed!
These all came from the swamps. Could be toting contraband.
Holmes! Help me! Do not fight the calling!
Blood!
I beg of you, Holmes! Fatigue! Relieve your blood!
Oh, no, it can't be. It can't end like this. Again, this nightmare haunts me. It won't let me forget. How did this all begin?
Well, we shall see. This game is a little bit lower quality, but it is a bit of an older game, so we can forgive it. From what I've seen of it so far, it's actually one of the better Sherlock Holmes games that I've played. A Sherlock Holmes adventure. The Awakened. Two years ago, London, 6th of September, 1894. Watson, at 221B Baker Street. And in the window, none other than the esteemed Sherlock Holmes.
Good morning, Holmes. Looks like a typical London day. Fog in the morning, fog in the afternoon. Ha! And here's a surprise, fog in the evening.
Good morning, Watson.
Can you imagine? I have been at it since 5 a.m., and I scarcely think my list of patients for the day has even been touched. What is more insufferable, I haven't even had a moment with the morning paper. They say the minister will assuredly... Holmes, whatever is the matter? You haven't heard a word I have said.
It is the tedium, my dear Watson. Life is ordinary, the papers are lifeless. Any hint of audacity, and dare I say romance, has vanished from the criminal world.
Holmes,
Relatable.
it is only temporary. You know perfectly well that sooner or later an exceptional incident will occur in London or thereabout, which cannot rest till the talents of Sherlock Holmes are called into play. Then it will be up to your agile wit to set things right, which should satisfy your constant need for mental gymnastics.
I hope the heavens hear your words, Watson. I hope they do indeed.
I get the
I must
feeling
take
they
my
will.
leave, Holmes. I have an appointment with a rather odious man, Captain Stenick. He is apparently in a state with near tachycardia due to some problem involving his manservant. Why don't you get out for a brisk walk, Holmes? Perhaps buy a newspaper or visit that fellow, Barnes, over on Glentworth Street. You might remember him, the bookseller. He has some new volumes of the particular sort that should occupy your mind for a time.
Am I good to speak? There we go. So, this game does initially drop me into third-person view. I found a little later on during my previous playthrough that it does have a first-person perspective, and I will be playing from this perspective. Either one are equally good, but as a player, I do prefer first-person views. It's much more immersive to me. So we have his lab table. We have a desk. I'll try to be as smooth as possible with this. I'll try not to flail around, make anybody sick. We can
Where
go
are
out.
my matches?
Oh, we have matches. Forgive me, they're on the desk. Matches. I believe that was all we needed. There we are. So this game, for as small of a game it is, and as modest the graphics are, excuse me a moment, for as modest as the graphics are, it is relatively open world.
The Strand! By the Strand!
We do have quite a bit of liberty in where we can travel.
Strand! Strand! By the Strand!
So, my young friend, what is the news?
Nothing of interest for the great detective, sir. Those old stuffed shirts ate up half of London at their big scientifical to-do, and some Scandinavia princess is driving the locals wild with curiosity.
A Scandinavian royal is in London? If you and the lads can look sharp and find out more about her visit, there will be some coin for your pockets.
Righto, Mr. Holmes. If there's aught to be found, the irregulars will have it. I'll send the words out to the lads.
Fair enough.
It is necessary to keep my informants in fighting form.
Quite fair. Excuse me a moment, I'm trying to adjust my mouse. The cord got caught for a moment. There we go. So, in this newspaper, it does tell a bit, I have read it before, it does tell a bit about a... Excuse me. Annoying. Okay. In a few days, 7 days? I'm not sure. Oh, sometime within the next few weeks, 7 stars in the sky are going to align. Almost like a Nibiru type of situation. Let's see. Also in the... Excuse me, this light. I'm so unprepared, you can tell. Ugh, complete professional here. Whatever. We'll leave it. A Scandinavian princess was attacked. Her guard was completely overpowered. This is interesting. A gentleman working at the Thames River as a fisherman noticed something he thought was a jellyfish, which ended up being a wig in the river. Other than that, there's not much here in the paper of relevance to us. There we go. So if we walk down the street, we can talk to this officer.
Pardon me, I'm looking for the Barnes bookshop. Would you happen to know it?
I know the place, know it well, Mr. Holmes. The bookshop is on Glentworth Street. Take your first right and then the next left, and you'll find it straight away.
Thank you. That's the bookshop that Watson mentioned, that we might occupy our mind in the meantime while there's no case going on. There's a lot of people here on the street, nobody really interested in speaking to us.
My respects, Miss Fleming.
Good day, Mr. Holmes.
Good day. She speaks to us and it frightens me every time because I always forget. As soon as we step in, we'll be greeted.
Good morning, Mr. Holmes. How are you? I have some new novels that should interest you. A nice illustrated volume on fish and a collection of legends on piracy. They must be here somewhere.
Well, if we take a step in, I believe right over here is that book on piracy.
The pirate's book.
Which doesn't really concern us right now. We can look at that later. That won't come into use for quite some time. And then there's this book.
About sea fauna.
Here we can see the different kinds of fish and their scales and their colorations, which is interesting. It's definitely something Sherlock would probably like for research, for his encyclopedias. That's pretty much all we have in here for now, but we will be back later.
I will take them.
Thank you, and goodbye, Mr. Holmes.
I will take them and not pay for them. So, we can leave the bookshop, head back towards Baker Street, and then as we get close to Baker Street, up on our right, we actually see Watson standing outside of a house.
Holmes! Here!
Excuse me, I thought that was a cutscene still.
Ah, it's good that I found you, Holmes. As I told you this morning, I've visited Captain Stenick. Although his symptoms are not serious, the circumstances which caused his palpitations are quite peculiar. Perhaps you can make something of it. Here is Captain Stenick and Sergeant Ruffles.
Ruffles. Now this gentleman, Captain Stenick... well, you'll see why I dislike him.
Captain, I understand from Watson you are quite upset.
Any man will be the same, and with less provocation. My servant is left in the middle of the night. Damned ungrateful after all I have done for him. To top it off, he knows not one word of English. Finally, if he causes any damage, I will bear the brunt of people's anger and suffer the consequences, as I am the person who brought him to England.
How long was he in your employment, and is he accustomed to vanishing in this manner?
We returned from Australia more than 5 months ago now. But to his credit, he never left this house before now.
He never
He
left
is
the
afraid of the
house.
city, as are many inhabitants from open spaces.
Could he have stolen something?
Upon my word, no.
How much money does he have on his person?
Frankly speaking, he didn't have any money. I kept his wages
No
for
money.
him, and they are in my safe.
You
In
kept
any
his
event,
wages
what
for
the
him.
deuce would he have a need for money?
No
Who
need
knew
for
that
money.
He worked at your home, and had he any contacts here in London?
Anyone who deals with me professionally knows Baopa is my personal servant. As for his contacts, they are limited to the delivery men who bring food or other items to my home. What reason could he have to see anyone other than myself?
What reason could he have for human socialization? So what you're saying is he was a slave. You didn't pay him, you kept his wages for him. He never left the house, he never spoke to anyone but you. Fascinating.
Now then, Sergeant, what is it about, and what elements of the crime do you have documented?
Referring to the official report, the following particulars were taken down. A young Maori responding to the name Baopa was reported missing by his employer, Mr. Stenick. No one in
Employer.
the surrounding area saw or heard anything relevant to this incident. In truth, we rarely concern ourselves with cases such as this, but the lad speaks not a single word of English, and according to his employer, has considerable strength. Considering the wild customs of his native land, who knows what damage he could cause?
Wow.
You must know, Mr. Holmes, there have been a few similar cases reported recently. The facts are much the same. Immigrants from the poor districts have been reported missing by their families. We expect that some low-class brothel has opened its doors to the local exotics, And Mr. Holmes, you can imagine how word would spread. Mark my words, with his unique looks and speech, we'll find this boy in no time. I imagine he'll have nothing worse to show than empty pockets and a delighted air.
That is a possibility, to be sure. However, I would be most grateful if you could ask your superiors to send me the reports about those similar cases. I rely on you, Ruffles. Watson, continue your search here. I must follow another lead.
An excellent theory about the brothel. Except for the fact, this man doesn't get paid. He doesn't make any money. And I don't know of a single brothel that doesn't accept money. So your theory stinks. Also, he's not his employer if he doesn't pay him. He's not an employee if he's not paid. But what do I know? What do I know? I keep looking up at my, the camera up here. It's so bright when I look at something bright, but then when I look at something darker, it's completely affected by the brightness of the screen, and it's washing me out, but there's nothing I can do about it. It's very frustrating. Alright, well, there's a scrap of cloth hanging in the doorway, just high enough that maybe it came off of a hat or some type of clothing. So it's very high though.
Flaxen. Yellow in color.
Flaxen. There's a mural of some kind on the ground. A bunch of humanoid figures and a fish-like figure in water.
That's a peculiar drawing.
Oh. There's a bowl here. We have a magnifying glass. We can look at the remnants. Some kind of ashes. Something has been burned here.
This appears to contain some measure of opium. I shall analyze it at Baker Street.
There we go. Oh yeah, that looks like the bed of an employee. That's marvelous. Marvelous. I believe that's all for inside the hovel. But if we walk around the outside, there's footsteps here. If we walk over here...
Footsteps. Let's see.
There's a few things to notice. First off, the size of the
The
footsteps.
size is undoubtedly 7. The shoes are also hard-soled.
Why are you making that noise? Oh, that was an awful sound. If we observe the shoe, we can tell there's nails all around the outside of the shoe, but there seems to be one missing on the right sole.
The right shoe is missing a nail.
And then over here, if we look in the grass, there's something we'll recognize. There's a fish scale.
How strange. This appears to be a fish scale. I shall have to examine this more thoroughly under the microscope.
Excellent. So then if we look up here,
Yes, there is something here.
there's something there. So we can walk around to the other side of the gate from the street. So all we have to do, let's walk by these goofballs. Around the corner into the alley. Right over here, and there's actually a ladder tucked away over here.
This should prove useful.
Yes. And if we use the ladder up against the gate... Where is it? There it is. Climb up it. There's something tucked into the corner of the gate. Found some plant fibers.
Why are they here? It will be necessary for me to examine this more closely at Baker Street.
And that should be all. I believe the ladder just stays there. So we can go back around, and I believe we can actually talk to the people now. Before I do, let's examine what we found. There we go. Okay, we had a little problem there, but we're back. So what we've observed so far from what we found is we found some cloth, and the cloth was very high up on a nail, high enough around the size of someone's head. So we can deduce from that that it got torn off of someone's cloth around their head. We also found some fish scales nearby and plant fibers. So we can deduce by that someone with a cloth around their head and someone with fish scales and plant fibers were present at the scene where the young gentleman disappeared from the cabin last night.
Come, Watson, we must return to Baker Street.
What do you make of this, Mr. Holmes?
Mr. Stenick, I wish my news were your servant simply left your employment voluntarily for the service of a more honest man. Unfortunately, I don't have that pleasure. In truth, the news is grim indeed. Your servant was seen in the company of 2 men yesterday. One of the 2 is a man of moderate size, very robust, and a mature age. His profession, which will be the key element in our investigation of this affair, will be determined by me within few hours. The other is a young Hindi who is tall and only recently arrived in England. There is a darker side to these events. Your man was not with them by choice. Rather, the evidence shows he was kidnapped. At this moment, the reasons behind this villainous act are unknown, but rest assured, the truth will not elude me for long. Gentlemen, I wish you a good day. Come, Watson, we must hurry. There's a great deal to do and little enough time to spare.
Holmes, I must protest. You did not spare my client, Captain Stenick. This seems unusually harsh.
That may be, Watson, but now what matters more is to know the reasons behind the kidnapping of this young aboriginal yesterday evening in central London, and more importantly, what has become of him. I must concentrate on a small experiment I will run to test my theories. Please go to the poor Lovelorn Barnes and ask him if he has something on the Maori nation and its traditions. Also, if you should happen to see the newsboy outside, find out what he knows, and if it has value, give him a coin. And for God's sake, don't be a miser, Watson.
A miser? You cost me one of my patients, and you question my level of generosity with your informers? Oh, really, Holmes? Sometimes you go too far.
Do I? Alright, so right now we're actually, lost my train of thought for a second. We're playing as Sherlock still. We're going to investigate the items that we recovered from the scene of the crime. We have a few components here to work with. First off, I'm going to examine the fish scale. We have 2 tools to work with, the tweezers and the knife.
This monograph.
Oh, it's a perch. It's a saltwater fish of high commercial value. Oops. Then we have plant fibers.
These rope fibers are clearly hemp. Now, about the origin of these stains.
We also have the thing we found in the fire pit containing opiate.
The meatball ignited but failed to burn completely. There are, without a doubt, mustard seeds present, probably in exotic form. What could be the other components, I wonder?
There we go. So we can look at the cloth.
Very interesting.
Woven flax, dyed but not in England. It's originated in India. Basically what we originally suspected. We're going to look at the hemp rope in the chemistry bath.
Let's see if I can obtain a reaction with the help of my chemicals and apparatus.
We have solvent.
This is evidently coal soot mixed with water, and given the absence of any salt particulates, it must be fresh water.
So we can also look at the opiate
Let's see
droplings.
if I can obtain a reaction with the help of my chemicals and apparatus.
Again, I believe we'll use
No, it
solvent.
can't be used for anything.
Not solvent, we'll use acid.
Perhaps if I apply heat?
And then we can use the matches to light the candle, apply the heat.
Incredible. I note a strong presence of opium blended with a concentrate of morphine. The remaining elements are a mystery to me. I should look from the window and see where Watson is.
So we've completed our investigations of the elements found. We have now switched to Watson's perspective, so we can talk to one of his informants first.
There's a good lad. How does it go?
Hello, sir.
My associate, Sherlock Holmes, said you might have information for him about... now, what was it?
The Princess, Gav. He was looking for the scuttlebutt on this here princess what we visiting. Exciting goings on. Her bodyguard went missing the first morning after she got here. Nice job to look after a princess's body, innit, sir? They say he went out on a town having a go with the ladies, if you get my meaning. Like as not, he was trapped by some gang of toughs. Otherwise, who'd get the best of him? A proper giant he was by all accounts. Do I get me coins then, sir? Oh, thank you, sir. Obliged, I'm sure.
Interesting. So the Scandinavian princess that was here visiting, her bodyguard was attacked while he was out in the town by allegedly a gang of thugs, but we don't actually know for sure. Now we're headed back to the bookstore to see if there are any books about the Maori people, which is the origin of the person who was kidnapped from the gentleman Watson was visiting.
Good morning. Has your sprain improved?
Good morning, Dr. Watson. It is slowly showing improvement. What can I do for you?
Would you happen to have a book on the Maoris?
If I have one available, it would be on that bottom shelf. Although, I'm not sure if I still have that particular book.
Please don't trouble yourself. I will look for it.
It's very bizarre. But anyway, I don't know if you fully heard that, but we're looking for a book on the Maoris, and he did say he had a book right over here. So this is a very long book, and I do not want to read all of it. Basically, what it explains is that the Maori people have interpretive dreams where they see visions. They can be good or bad visions, but they use their visions to make predictions about upcoming things in their lives, or prophetic things, but they also believe, this is here, they believe that the end times or the end of the world or the apocalypse will be predicted by these dreams and visions that they have, and they tell of their predictions in their dreams by creating drawings. They make drawings to show visually the most important parts of their dreams. So that was what was to be taken away from that book. I do not feel like reading the entire thing.
Good day.
Goodbye, Doctor.
There we go. Back to Baker Street. Let me in. Let me in. Jeez. Couldn't open the door for a second. Hello. Love the detail of the bullet holes in the wall.
Holmes, what on earth did you say to Barnes?
I don't
to
understand
put him in
this.
Such a state?
Not now, Watson, although I'm sure this bit of news is most significant. It must wait. We are piecing together a singular affair. This abduction story is much more complex than it appears. As I noted before, our next move is to locate the place of employment for one of the villains who abducted the young Maori. What part of London would such a man call home?
Well, interestingly enough, we found that he had traces of rope on his person. He's a heavier set man who wears sturdy shoes. He had a fish scale with him. And on the rope, we found that it had water on it, but it wasn't salt water. Now, where could a man pick up rope, fresh water, and fish scales? Well, certainly not the ocean. That would be salt water. Well, the only fresh water around here is actually the fresh water we read about in the newspaper, which would be the Thames River.
Yes, Watson, there is little room for doubt. Our man is a bargeman who works at the Thames River wharfs. He is more precisely employed to transport and handle fish brought in by various ships. Our next step is obvious. We must find a cab and make haste to the Thames, near the warehouses.
Well, let us make haste.
The Strand! By the Strand!
There we go, just making sure. Make haste.
Good day, Mr. Holmes.
Good day. To wharf number 13.
Let's go.
Why did we come here, Holmes? Brr, it's rather sinister here, and so cold.
Precisely, Watson. Ah, good. Here's a pub. We can warm ourselves inside.
Excellent, Holmes.
Ooh, cozy place. Hello.
Good day to you, sir. Could you serve up 2 of your best pints and some information, if you please?
My pleasure, sir. What can I do for you?
My friend and I are looking for a man who works one of the fishing boats at the docks. The name of the ship escapes me, but I do know for certain fact it has a coal-fed boiler.
In truth, there are dozens of such boats that lay anchor here every day. What can you tell me about the look of him?
Only that he is a robust man, about this size, wearing iron soles.
Little help there. You've just described half of my customers. I have nothing for you. Here now, look for a man called Harper. He lives in a house not far from here, after the bridge near the warehouses. You can't go wrong finding his place. It has a large anchor painted on it.
Either way, I am in your debt. Please tell me, for curiosity's sake, what troubles your friend?
He's been waiting ever so long for a new wooden hand. It was to be here yesterday, but still no sign of it. He's quite low and has taken to the drink.
The devil! Last night a nasty flea woke me, and me with only the hook on me scratching hand.
Hi, Watson. Alright. So we've been told to go find a building with a giant anchor painted on it. Well, there it is.
No one is here.
But there's someone across the street. Hello? I'm going to break down your door. Knock, knock.
Excuse me for disturbing you, but I'm looking for a man named Mr. Harper. Do you know him? He lives just opposite you.
He gone. Boat.
Watson, I know this accent. These people are Nepalese, and as luck would have it, I am familiar with this dialect.
Nepalese? Holmes, are you sure?
Ahor Nitra. Shigong se Nitra.
Ah, Nito. Bo Petro. Toro Mitro. Doka.
This woman says her family has suffered a grave misfortune. This altar is for her son, a lad of 16, who disappeared just 1 week ago.
Could he have run away to sea, or some other youthful adventure?
Il koga bratsen.
Very helpful subtitles.
She said a man was seen in the area making inquiries about her son and their family. The man worked at the docks and had a silver eye. Yes, exactly. He was a vile man with one silver eye. Malinhe gas. Sundre broket hardo.
Was that an Edgar Allan Poe reference?
She also says her son's belongings are on this altar. She says we may examine them and take anything that might help find her son.
But what does this have to do with Captain Stennick's servant?
We shall see. Alright, so take the things on the altar. There's a pin.
This is not Nepali. It looks like silver, but judging by the weight, it's a fake.
Interesting. Gonna quickly save the game, in case we lose our progress. There we go. Alright, that's all we needed here. There's also some rope here.
This old rope seems intact. No trace of soot present.
So it's not the same rope that we found. Let's see. Let's take a walk around the area. See what there is to be seen. Oh, this person here. He's very whiny. Ugh. Well, that was grody. Charming. Hello.
Watson,
Nice.
it appears this young man is ill. Be a good man and see how serious it is.
Here now, my young man. Let's have a look at you. Oh, Holmes. This man isn't ill. He's drunk. He fairly reeks of alcohol.
Oh, it's not my fault. I swear it. Oh, my head. Oh, this gang of young toughs. They forced it on me. And then on top of it, they stole my parcel.
What's that? You say you were forced to drink. Explain this and spare no details.
Yesterday afternoon, I was given a parcel to deliver to an address not far from here. I was near the warehouse district when a gang of young lads attacked me. Before I could think, they drew knives and gave me a bottle, telling me if I valued my life, I better drink it all. Well, let me tell you, I drank without stopping. I became giddy, and then must have passed out. I remember nothing else, except waking up a moment ago, finding myself alone. My parcel gone.
But what could they have wanted, Holmes?
It's obvious, Watson. They were seeking some poor soul on whom to test their vile concoction. Tell me, could this bottle be the one they gave you?
I can't say. It could be. I feel ill just looking at it.
It has a unique flavor. Rather tasty, I might add. There's no mistaking my senses. This contains turnips. In fact, a liberal amount.
But where are you off to, Holmes?
Find
Watson,
the maker.
It is time to seek out the distillers of this unique brew. If they are located in this district, they may have much to tell us.
Turnip alcohol. That's kinda grody. But who am I to judge? Well, if we turn down this alleyway, we'll see there are actually
That
turnips
part of the
here.
warehouse seems an ideal place to hide, but it would be difficult for anyone to get there.
Tons of bottles too. Hello.
So, what about it?
I am missing something.
Well, they don't want to talk to us, but maybe if I show them the bottle.
So,
I assume this is your special recipe?
that depends on who's asking. If it's the law, then I have nothing to do with this. If you're a customer, 2 shillings gets you a taste.
A fair price indeed. Unfortunately, this vintage is a bit full-bodied for my taste. But I would be very happy to recover a parcel that went missing near this very spot.
So we have more to show him. We did get the parcel, which is the parcel that was stolen from the man in the bar. It is his wooden hand. We also can show him this from the missing boy's house.
What?
One other thing. Have you seen this before?
Yes, I saw it. One of the dock workers, an odd sort, gave it to a gang member, Brannock. He wanted Brannock to join their gang, or I don't know what. Must have been nigh on 2 weeks ago. 2 days later, he went missing, and not a word since.
This man who gave your friend the pendant, can you describe him?
Not very tall, strong, wearing a red cap, and he with a hare lip. You could likely find him near warehouse 12. He told Brannock he worked there.
Thank you. By the way, my friend the postman feels badly used. You should change the recipe.
Oh, I was sure of that. Turnips weren't near rotted enough. Maybe they need a longer soak in gutter water. Now,
Gutter
off with
water.
a pair of you.
Charming. Rotten turnips and gutter water. Delectable. Anyway, we can go and bring our friend in the bar his wooden hand. La-da-dee. Our drunk friend is gone, hopefully recovering somewhere. There we go, back to the pub. And here you are, my friend.
Good news, sir. Here is what you were waiting for.
Charming.
Oh, thank you, sir. I could kiss you.
Here now, you can't just leave this laying about like that.
Well, in that case, we'll take it.
This should prove useful.
With the hook and the rope, we can create a bit of a grappling hook now. So, Sherlock doesn't quite know what we'll need that for, but I've seen into the future. I know what we need it for. Now, the gentleman who runs the still did mention Warehouse 12, where the gang members would meet for their recruiting. And we just happen to know where Warehouse 12 is. We actually passed it. So if we go downtown, down the alleyway, to the area where we came, and we go straight ahead this time instead of turning right, we will soon, after not too long, wrong way, we will soon come upon Warehouse 12, which I believe is right down here. There it is, Warehouse 12. If we look around the side, the window's a bit hazy,
Yes, there is something here.
but up here, there's a broken window,
I need something.
and we can use our grappling hook. Watson is going to control the rope. Excuse me, Sherlock is going to control the rope while Watson comes around to the window. Have to dust it off, it's a bit grimy.
Bravo, Holmes.
Ah,
We
it
didn't-
bites. A splendid catch, Watson, but I prefer to let it go. After you.
There we go. And we've come into the warehouse. There's a lot to be seen here. First off, there are
I need
boxes.
something.
There's a tool on the ground here.
This should prove useful.
There's also something else on the ground here. There's a pin with blood in it.
The end of this hat pin is covered with blood.
And there's a notebook. It is a birth certificate or passport to the United States, Boston, Massachusetts. It is a passport. They entered on the 22nd of August. We can flip it around, and there's a drawing of some sort in blood.
Look, Watson, a page torn from an American passport. One Amos Colby, 36 years old, from Boston, Massachusetts. He arrived here just 3 weeks ago. What business did he have here?
This drawing on the back of this page, it resembles some vision of a demon, and... Good God, Holmes! It was drawn with blood.
It was.
It would seem likely that whoever cut themselves with this pin is also the artist of this demoniac image.
Don't know if I would quite
this is
call it a
hardly
demon.
reassuring.
That seems a bit more like a teddy bear than a demon, but to each their own. We did happen to get a piece of metal. We can
Says,
pry
and
open the
according
box.
to this tab, the case is measured 2 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. Someone has emptied these cases of sailcloth to hold something very different, but still suited to their particular form.
Oh my God, Holmes, you do not mean that all these crates are better called coffins?
It's quite possible. We got a lantern. There's blood over here. Blood! Interesting. There's a giant set of doors here, but obviously far too big for us to be able to pry open. There seems to be a mechanism here, though. So we can use...
I cannot do this.
What did I need?
I cannot do this. I cannot do this.
I can do this. Perhaps... Oh, not yet, because we haven't moved the barrel. There you go. There's a water pipe here. And by turning on the faucet, we fill the giant bucket full of water. Their water bill is going to be insanely high because that's a massive bucket, but we can push the bucket along to the next platform. There we go. We can attach this rope to the bucket, come over here to the rope, pull up the rope, and then take the rope and tie it to the door. And if you see where we're going with this, I have my knife drawn. We're going to cut the rope, and the weight of the bucket is going to open the doors. It's a bit of a harebrained idea to open a set of doors, but
Bravo, Holmes!
creative. Nice little puzzle. Now we've got
Watson,
our
we must
lantern.
inspect this place carefully and leave no stone unturned. We have little time.
And we shall descend.
Good God! Holmes, where are we?
Tread lightly, Watson. This place seems alive and watchful.
Right you are. And we've activated our lantern, and we can proceed. This is a puzzle room. It did take me a while the first time. Basically, we have a shape, and we are trying to fit the shape of the cursor into these different symbols. And all of the symbols that fit within the shape we create, we select here on this door. And if I remember correctly... perhaps I do not remember correctly. Let's try that again. So Watson, move. So it's this one, move, And this, maybe not that one. So it's not that one. Not that one, so it's this one, and this one? I don't know if they're in any particular... Oh. There we go! And as we walk in, there's a strange silhouette on the other side of the room, but we'll get to that in a minute. Walking over here, there are the pendants that we saw before, that are the gang symbols.
A box full of pendants in the shape of a pelican. These are brothers to the one found at the Nepalese house. Quite useless. These trinkets are nothing but charming decoys.
There are a lot of insane drawings on the wall. Fascinating. No idea what they could possibly mean. Over here, there's
Should prove useful.
I believe it's charcoal. Hold on, my mouse cord is being irritating again. There we are. Woo! A little dizzy for a second. Don't stare at me like that, Watson. There we go. And if we walk along the path up here, on the floor, there's a strange rectangle with a cross in it.
What a peculiar drawing.
Looks as though someone were on their hands and knees to draw this in the dirt. There's a set of clothing here.
The left sleeve of this costume bears slight traces of blood, and here, the pocket is pierced. Aha! There appear to be papers inside.
Northwood Agency. Any manner of discreet investigations. From Boston, Massachusetts, the same place as this Amos Colby is from. There are silver boxes.
That smell. This water contains a strong opiate.
More symbols.
Metal boxes, and here is one that still bears a label. It is in the shape of a flower, which appears to be Edelweiss, and it is black. How remarkable. They are not common. I must take the contents of this box to Baker Street for a more thorough analysis. Opiate, beyond all doubt.
You are right. This is definitely an opiate. Holmes, could these villains be opium smugglers?
Perhaps. And last but not least, there is a bit of a warning here. The next section is going to be a bit gory, so if you are sensitive to that, feel free to fast forward. But there's a dead body here. With a statue of a curious entity.
What a horror!
Yes. So, he's missing a leg, and he's badly decomposing.
This man was bound with rope shortly before his death.
And he's got slice wounds all over him. We can look at his hand. We'll notice his finger's quite dirty, almost as if he's been drawing in dirt.
This man's right index finger is
Coated with dust. Excuse me, I didn't realize that would cut him off. Interesting. And if we walk around to the other side, his other hand has a very small puncture wound in the thumb.
This man has a small wound on his left thumb. He must have drawn that strange figure in blood on the torn passport page.
Thus concluding that this is, in fact, the man who owned the passport. Amos, I believe his name is. Fascinating. I don't know if there's anything else to be seen here other than right here this small statuette.
This man fought hard before his tragic end. The dreadful-looking broken statuette reveals much about his terrible struggle.
There we go. And then over here, on the pedestal, there's some strange
This
writing.
message is engraved in some language unknown to me. I
If
must
we
make
go-
a copy of this message before the police arrive. A herd of buffalo could not leave a greater mess than the local constabulary.
If we go through our inventory, we have a paper, and we can use the paper and the charcoal to make a rubbing of the symbols seen here.
Excellent. A perfect copy of those symbols.
I wouldn't say
Bravo,
perfect.
Holmes.
This unfortunate man must have interrupted the kidnappers while they were transferring their victims.
What are you speaking about?
All of the kidnapped people were kept here, and from the look of things, for some days. There must have been a good number of them, so they were drugged to keep them docile. Then, with the vile assistance of riffraff hired by Dirty Summers, they loaded these people into the missing cases from the warehouse. Last night, these poor unfortunates were loaded onto a waiting ship, their destination as yet unknown.
Oh my God! Holmes! Look!
Ooh. That's not good. Oh, yes, that's normal. Ugh. Blah. Oh, there goes his head. Thud.
Let's leave this place, Watson. We can do nothing here.
Charming.
See that this is delivered to Mr. Holmes at the Diogenes Club as quickly as possible. Do not leave without his reply, though such insistence will undoubtedly cause Mycroft some distress.
What the devil are you doing, Holmes?
I am sending a letter to my dear brother and including a reference to the strange markings I found on the temple stones. Perhaps he can make something of them. Watson, I must know what was in the metal boxes that we found in this strange temple.
But that will be a question for next time. This is where I'm going to leave the episode for now. I'm going to take a break from it for the night. We'll pick it up again tomorrow night. I'm not sure when this video will go up, as soon as possible, but I hope you're enjoying it so far. I certainly am. I'll let you know when I get to the point that my last attempt to record finished off at. But until then, I do somewhat know what I'm doing, but there is still yet a lot to be explored. So thank you guys so much for joining me thus far, and I hope you'll join me for more episodes. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!